Yeah, let's fire this thing up.
Don't say stuff like that to me. You might
Yeah,
see me
yeah.
blowing.
Yeah.
We in. We in there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. 1 second. Yes, upstairs, please. It's time to go night night.
Yes, it is.
All right. Had to take care of a little business there. We still live, Kev?
Yes, sir. We in the building. It's okay, America. You understand how it is. Fathers out there, I know you understand. You trying to put the kids to bed, and sometimes they don't want to go to sleep, so on and so forth. But we
We're
live with you.
all very involved dads in the trenches. And before sports, before any other thing we're passionate about, it's fatherhood, okay? And it's family. And that's always going to come first, even on off the bench.
Yes, yes, yes.
Indeed. It gets real. It gets real out there. So we're glad you all had a chance to see that, because as these gentlemen mentioned, we do take fatherhood seriously, and it's a 24-hour job, even when off the bench comes calling. But with that said, good evening. We'd like to welcome you all to Off the Bench. My name is Javon Tavares. I am one of the hosts of the triumvirate that we have here. My other two distinguished guests, Mr. Kevin Cornegay and Mr. Sean Dustin. Not only are they some of the best analysts in the world, but they're also some of the most quality human beings that you will find out there. Gentlemen, how's it going this Thursday evening?
I'm just getting ready for the Super Bowl, man. 2 more days away. I'm ready for it.
You know, I'm a little bit even more in the moment than that. I was watching a little bit of Blake Griffin earlier. You know, led his team in scoring. You know, got a real close W with the Pistons. You know, I'm ready for the Super Bowl as well. Obviously, you know, as a Cowboy fan, you know, we have one of my arch rivals in the Eagles in there. And, you know, I don't think America as a whole is a big fan of the Pats. So I'm finding it hard to choose anybody here, Javon.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, you know, it's been over 20 years since your Dallas Cowboys have been to the Super Bowl. So, you know, I wouldn't expect you to really understand what the was about. But hopefully, all shade aside, hopefully the Dallas Cowboys, with a full season of having Ezekiel Elliott, with Dak Prescott getting back on track, hopefully the Cowboys will make a move. So even amidst all the shade I just threw at you, Sean, I'm still hoping that your team does well. Mr. Kevin Cornegay, obviously.
Hey, my family can still go to the zoo because we're not trying to avoid jaguars or anything like that. We're good.
No doubt. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Kev's San Francisco 49ers, definitely on the right track with Jimmy Garoppolo. That, I think, was the move of the year, if you ask me. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to lead the 49ers back to the promised land. Mark that. You heard it here on Off the Bench. Fellas, let's transition into the Super Bowl. We promised the folks out there that we would be doing a comprehensive preview of the Super Bowl, and that's what we're going to do. First, before we get into any predictions or anything like that, let's talk about 2 keys to victory. So I want each of you to give me, or give the world 2 keys to victory for each team. And I'll start with you, Sean. So give us 2 keys of victory for the Eagles, and to give us 2 keys of victory for the Patriots.
I think the 2 keys that really come to mind for me for the Eagles is balance. The first one is balance. You know, Nick Foles has been great in this postseason, and ever since Carson Wentz got hurt, he's been doing a really, really good job. And I think he's even played a little bit above even what the expectations for the Eagles and maybe even Nick Foles had. And it's not fool's gold. However, playing against the New England Patriots, and that bend but don't break defense. They come up with big plays when they need them. You know, you don't want to put Nick Foles in a position where he has to do too much. You want him to be able to take some risk. You want him to be able to take some shots at certain times, but you don't want to get in a situation where you become predictable against the New England Patriots. And so I think Ajayi is going to have to play well. I think Zach Ertz across the middle, even on little manageable plays and short, quick strikes, they're going to have to really have some balance, some draw plays, some screen plays. You're just not going to be able to be predictable against the New England Patriots. And then really stay to their identity. That's my other key. They're going to have to be defense first, offense second. They're going to have to really rely heavily on their defense. They're going to have to get off the field on third down against, a guy like Tom Brady, who's known for converting on third down and really just breaking the will of teams. So those are my keys for the Eagles. Stay within themselves, defense first, have balance on offense. For the Patriots, protect Tom Brady.
Sean, let's do this. Before you actually get into the keys for the Patriots, I want to interject and I want to let Kev give us his 2 keys for the Eagles, and then we'll come back for the Patriots. Kev, give me two keys for the Eagles to get victory on Sunday.
2 keys, probably a little bit more simplistic than what Sean said. Look for the front 4 play for the Eagles defensively. Fletcher Cox up the middle. Can he get pressure up the middle against Tom Brady to get him to move his plant leg and where he's going to deliver the ball from? So Fletcher Cox. And then third down conversions in the second half. Key. Can the Eagles be better than 60% on third down? Because what is that going to do? It's going to keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. If Tom Brady gets more possessions than the Eagles do in the second half, that's going to be your winner there. So their third down conversions in the second half, they got to be up above 60%. And then Fletcher Cox, can he get pressure? He's going to get pressure in the first and the second quarter. Can he continue to get pressure in the fourth quarter, that front line play? And as you notice, I didn't say anything about the offense because I think the offense is going to be fine. I think they'll be able to move the ball. I think they'll have balance. I like their running game, and I do like the passing game with Nick Foles, play action pass. I'm just focused defensively. That front 4, can they continue to get pressure in the fourth quarter? And then third down conversions, can they continue to move the sticks?
All right. Excellent. So I think from the respective analysts, you can see that there seems to be a core belief that the Eagles will have a good chance to get victory on Sunday if they do those things that those guys laid out. Moving on to the Patriots, and we'll come back to you, Sean. What do you think are the 2 keys for them to be victorious on Sunday?
I think first and foremost is shut down the run. The New England Patriots have been abysmal at some points during this year, letting teams gouge them, which is very uncharacteristic. I mean, you're talking about a team that I think was 28th in the league in yards against or something like that. It was bad. However, when it comes to their defense, they were ranked 5th in actual scoring defense, which is kind of crazy. You don't think that you give up that many yards, but scoring defense ranks so high. But again, it's a bend but don't break type of deal for them. And I think what they really need to do to be victorious on Sunday is make the Eagles one-dimensional. They're going to have to shut down the run and make Nick Foles be a volume passer. 40, 35, 45 passing attempts during the game. The longer that his receivers have to take to get open, the more opportunity they have to get pressure on the quarterback. in some of those packages, those third down packages, when they bring in James Harrison and they bring him off the edge, they run those stunts, try to confuse the offensive line of the Eagles. You're talking about a very, very experienced team. You're talking about a team that has 31 players that played in the Super Bowl last year, 32 players that have played in the Super Bowl. You're talking about a guy like Belichick that has had 38 postseason games. I think Brady started like 36 postseason games, something ridiculous like that. So you're talking about a Doug Peterson on the other side as a coach who 2 games, and Nick Foles is third postseason game. So I think they make them one-dimensional. They make the inexperienced coach and the inexperienced quarterback have to make decisions in the biggest game of their life. That's a key to victory right there. And the other one for me, for the Patriots, is conversions on third down. When they're able to mix in a run here or there, a draw play, a screen play with their really pass-heavy offense, and they're able to wear teams down with those little quick hitters, and then you start getting Gronkowski, big chunks of yards. You got a third and long. It looks like you did everything right on defense. I equate it to basketball where you did everything right on defense, but you didn't finish the defense. You played for 22 seconds in the shot clock, forced them into a bad shot. They get an offensive rebound. It's deflating. And Brady, no pun intended, he is deflating as well. Okay? Those third down plays where it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12. They got it. They, for some act of God, got a holding penalty or something like that. And then all of a sudden, now they're converting on 3rd and long, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6, and the defense can't get off the field. That's really going to be the way that they can beat that staunch defense that Philadelphia brings into this game, is wearing them down and keeping them on the field. And the thing about the New England Patriots, they don't just beat you physically. That's really not the place that they beat you the most. Their adjustments and the little game within the game. Tom Brady is one of the most fierce competitors you're ever going to see. He relishes those moments. He loves those moments. And he loves ripping the heart out of defenses. And so third down conversions, to me, and then making them one-dimensional, shutting down the run, that's going to be the way the Pats win this game.
And to your point earlier, if you guys were remembering that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a key sequence in the third quarter, Jacksonville had the Patriots on the ropes, a key 3rd and 18 conversion from Tom Brady to Amendola. 3rd and 18. 3rd and 18. If you heard that, potentially the Jacksonville Jaguars would be playing the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. Kev, same question to you. Give me 2 keys to victory for the New England Patriots for Sunday.
Key number 1, make Philly kick field goals, because Philly will be able to get into the red zone against this Patriots defense. So once in the red zone, can you keep them out of the end zone and make them kick field goals? You do that, then it's going to be really difficult for Philly, because Tom Brady's going to put the ball in the end zone. Number 2,
Just to add to that, the Patriots were number 8 in the league in opponents' red zone percentage. That put them higher than Philly defensively. Great point.
Yeah, that's a big time key. And then number 2 for New England, it's a mismatch in the trenches when New England is on offense and Philly's defensive line. I think Philly has one of the best defensive lines in football. It's a mismatch. So how quickly can Tom Brady get the ball out of his hands? Expect quick throws. Expect quick crossing routes. And this is a Gronk game for me. Gronkowski, how effective can he be? He's coming off of the concussion. And normally Tom Brady will need a little bit more time to be able to get the ball downfield to Gronk. So can the New England Patriots offensive line give Brady enough time to get that ball down to the big fella? Because he's going to try to get the ball out. So, you're going to have the slot receivers with the crossing routes, the quick outs, the quick slants, things of that nature, because it's a mismatch up front. So those are the two biggest things. I think the biggest thing for me is going to be red zone play for the Eagles. Are they going to be able to get 6 as opposed to getting 3? Because Tom is going to put points on the board, especially in the second half where he's really dialed in to what you're trying to do on the defensive end. He's got things figured out. At that point, it's just going to be, can you beat your man up front? And can Tom Brady's offensive line, can they protect him? That's pretty much what it's going to come down to, especially in the fourth quarter. So those are my keys.
So I want to sprinkle in a couple keys to victory. I'm going to save us the hassle of having to hear what New England's keys to victory would be. They already have 5 rings. Tom Brady's appeared in 8 Super Bowl appearances. So I'll focus strictly on 2 keys for the Philadelphia Eagles. Key number one. Can the Eagles adjust to the adjustments that Bill Belichick and the Patriots are going to make? And I think Sean pointed that out earlier, but that truly is going to be the essence of the game. If there ever was a game for the Philadelphia Eagles where you're not playing checkers, but you're playing chess, this is the game.
Yes.
So if the Eagles find themselves out in the first half with an early lead, 10 points, 14 points, whatever it may be, 21 points, how is Doug Peterson, as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, going to be able to adjust to those second half adjustments that Belichick and his staff are going to be able to make? If the Eagles can handle that well and make adjustments of their own, and instead of being in a reactive mode, if they can actually dictate the pace offensively and defensively, I think they have a really good chance to win that game. And then secondly, Nick Foles. We saw it last week or a couple weeks ago with Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles looked like he could have been a Pro Bowl quarterback in the first 2.5 quarters. As the adjustments were made by the Patriots, Blake Bortles tightened up. Okay, there was a throw, and there's a couple people that may disagree with me on this one, but there was a throw where Leonard Fournette was on a wheel route running down the sideline. Blake Bortles did not put that ball in the place where a running back could make that catch. If it was a receiver, then you would expect the receiver to make the adjustment and make the acrobatic catch. But again, this is a 240-pound running back on a wheel route. You have to lead him. The play where it was a 4th down play where Gilmore had the pass breakup. Yes. Spectacular play by Gilmore. But if Blake Bortles puts that in a place where only the receiver can get it, then Gilmore's not going to even have an opportunity to knock that down. So Blake Bortles did not step up in those key moments. And, of course, we know what Tom Brady is going to do every time. But can Nick Foles, a guy that has stepped up, he's taken this Eagles offense by the reins, and he's gotten them to this point to where they're in the Super Bowl. Can he make those plays? Can he make those throws that Blake Bortles didn't make down the stretch? So those are going to be my keys for the Philadelphia Eagles to get victory. Moving on, I need one player from each side that absolutely must play well for that respective side to win the game. And so I'll start out with you on this one, Kevin. Again, one player from each team that absolutely must play well to ensure victory.
For New England, Amendola must play well. Sean talked about 3rd down conversions. That's the 3rd down conversion man. I think there are going to be a lot of 3rd downs in this game. The Phillies defense, they just don't give up big plays. So, you're going to have to dink and dunk and really drive the ball down the field, 9, 10, 11 play drives to score. They just don't give up big plays. So that's for New England. And then for Philadelphia, Fletcher Cox. He's got to dominate, and he's got to dominate in the middle of that defensive line to prevent Tom Brady from being able to step up into that pocket. That's where you got to have that pressure to come from one of your defensive tackles. He's a dominant defensive tackle. He's one of the best in the game. He's got to be lights out, and he's got to be lights out in the first and the fourth quarters. The fourth quarter, he has to own that quarter. So if he has enough juice in the fourth to really be able to cause some havoc, then I think Philadelphia has a pretty good shot to be able to shock the world.
And for the Patriots, give us one player. Okay, you gave us Danny Amendola and then Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
So Sean, it's on you. One player from each side that absolutely must play well to ensure victory.
The Pats, I don't have any concern at all whether or not Tom Brady is going to play lights out in the biggest moment. This is what he lives for. I'm going with Gronkowski. And not in the traditional sense. I don't think he has to have 100 yards and 3 touchdowns or anything like that. However, pass and run blocking, being able to get key third down conversions, it was so big in the Jaguars game. Once Gronkowski was out, that defense was able to do a lot of things that they weren't able to do while Gronkowski was in there. Now, albeit they lost the game on the last drive by Tom Brady. However, not having to help and having to have the safety occupy the middle of the field, linebackers not having to concern themselves as much with the tight end play is huge. That's such a huge segment of the field. And where New England really kills you is they have multiple threats across the middle of the field. They can go vertical with Gronkowski. They can go out towards the sideline with Gronkowski. And then when that happens, they have Amendola coming right across the middle. So it really puts your defense in a pickle. And if Gronkowski can occupy their safeties, beat their linebackers, play physical at the line of scrimmage, the deception that the Patriots do where it looks like they're going to block, hold a block for a second or two, turn around, conversion across the middle. If Gronkowski and his yards after catch just kill defenses. I mean, you think that it's a 10-yard play, all of a sudden it's a 24-yard play. He's dragging defenders. Defenders start getting real hesitant to want to tackle this guy. His stiff arms are classic. I mean, this guy's a Hall of Fame tight end. One of the best that's ever done it. So I think Gronkowski on the Patriots end, if he does all of those things well that he does, pass block, big conversion plays, and yards after catch, they have a great chance of winning. And on the Eagles side, it has to be Nick Foles. It has to be Nick Foles. He's in the biggest game of his life. Their offense has been predicated on great decision-making and quarterback play all year. And Nick Foles has came in, to his credit, even though they've adjusted some things around him, he's made great decisions. This is a guy who has not turned the ball over in the playoffs. So he has to play big, but he can't shriek in the moment. He can't, I'm going to disagree with you on the Blake Bortles pass to Fournette. I thought Fournette could have made that catch, but I think Bortles did not negotiate around the fact that Fournette was still nursing a hurt ankle and maybe could have made that play all the way healthy, but not made that play partially injured. But you have to take shots. You have to make the New England defense respect the fact that you can take the top off. With an Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, players that can get big chunks of yardage, you have to take – this is not the time to get conservative. This is not the time to trick in the moment. You have to do what got you there. Last week he had over 5 passes, over 25 yards. You have to take shots against this New England defense. If you're not going to be aggressive, if you don't compete against this team, they will truck you. If you don't take shots, if you don't come to play and play to win and just play not to lose, you will be defeated every time. Nick Foles has to play great.
Good choices. Good choices, fellas. Quickly, I'm just going to throw in a couple players that need to play well. Number one for New England, I'm going to go off the board a little bit. I think Deion Lewis, running back Deion Lewis, is going to have to play well for the New England Patriots. And the reason why I say that is in the second half, the Patriots of the game with the Jaguars, the Patriots went almost exclusively to the air. Now, it did pay off for them because Jacksonville's defensive backs played a lot of soft zone. They played a lot of soft zone to protect that lead, and it didn't necessarily work out. But Deion Lewis is a matchup nightmare. Here's a guy that can receive well out of the backfield. He's also good on those draws. He's good on screens. So I think if Deion Lewis plays well and the Patriots can establish some semblance of a run game, they don't have to have a lot of success, but they need to be able to keep the Eagles defense honest. I think Deion Lewis is the key to that. So we already know that I believe Gronk is going to play well. Tom Brady is going to play well. But Deion Lewis is a guy that really could help solidify a Super Bowl victory for the Patriots. And then defensively for the Eagles, I'm going to go with Mike Jenkins. Okay? Or excuse me, Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins, safety for the Philadelphia Eagles. In all likelihood, he's going to be matched up with Gronkowski. Okay? And Gronkowski is a matchup nightmare in his own right. So if Malcolm Jenkins, one of the best safeties out there, a guy that can cover and a guy that can play well in run support, if he can play big for the Eagles, then once again, they have an opportunity to win that game. So that leads us to our next topic. Who's got the advantage? Is it the New England offense or is it the Philadelphia Eagles defense? And we'll start with you, Sean, for this question.
I'm going to keep it simple on this one. On paper and by the eye test, by all the analytics and everything I can muster that I have available to me, I'm going to say the Eagles defense. None of that matters, though, when you have a Tom Brady on the other side. Everything in my heart says Eagles defense. I mean, their ability to get pass rush, they're at the second level, they're a great play at the linebacker position, and then in the secondary, in the safety position, having not only great coverage, but physical defenders. But Tom Brady, I'm going to say Eagles defense tentatively, but I don't think the Pats offense are world beaters. I don't. I mean, you have Cook, you have
Sean, you're my brother, and I love you. We cannot let you off the hook here. I don't need any tentatively speaking. I need something. I need you to be definitive with what you're saying.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't feel completely 100% confident about it. Tom Brady is great enough.
I said, well, then choose the Patriots off. We need something definitive from you.
Defense. I'm sticking with my heart, but I'm just telling you, I'm cognizant of the fact Tom Brady can do amazing things. I don't need you questioning me about anything when it comes to the GOAT. Don't.
Listen, I would agree. But if you're going to roll with the GOAT, then roll with the GOAT. I don't need you to say, hey, well, the Eagles. You got to say, but.
Eagles defense.
Okay, thank you. Y'all heard that out there. He's going with the Eagles defense in a bold call. And listen, I respect that because, again, when you take a look at the analytics, you do have a tendency to want to go with what you see. And I think the Eagles defense is right there. So I respect the fact that you picked that. Mr. Kevin Cornegay, who has the advantage? Is it the Patriots offense or is it the Eagles defense?
It's the Eagles defense that has the advantage. All three levels, they're terrific. They're a dominant defense. And this is going to be another tremendous challenge for the GOAT. Two consecutive top 5 defenses in the league. One of the things that we haven't talked about the Eagles defense is that they don't miss any tackles. I think they're one of the surest tackling defenses that we've seen. So there's not going to be a lot of situations where receivers are going to be running free, catching it, and run after catch type stuff, missing tackles, so on and so forth. So they're able to get guys to the ground. But I think the Eagles defense has the advantage. With that said, that doesn't mean that Tom Brady can't pull another rabbit out of a hat and beat them, because it might take him 2 to 3 quarters to figure out exactly how he wants to attack the defense. But he's one of the best we've ever seen at being able to figure out what matchup he's going to go to by the time he gets to the fourth quarter. But I do like the matchup. I love this matchup for the Eagles defense. I will say that, because I just think that they have the prerequisite to give New England trouble, especially in the trenches. This is such a mismatch in the trenches. And so, again, if they get that pressure in the key, if they could get it in the fourth quarter, then I think they'll be in pretty good shape. But I like the matchup for the Eagles defense, despite the GOAT on the other side. Much respect to the GOAT. No question about that.
All right. So you guys heard it out there. We have Kevin choosing the Eagles defense. We have Sean choosing the Eagles defense. Gentlemen, I can't say that I disagree with you on that. I think when you take a look at the analytics, when you take a look at all levels of that defense, the front seven and the secondary, it would appear that the Eagles do have the advantage. But I cannot go against the GOAT. I can't. I can't go against Gronkowski, who is one of the most difficult tight ends to ever match up with in the history of the National Football League. Those, it's just too overwhelming to go against those two. So I'm going to say that the Patriots offense has the advantage there. Let's flip it. Let's talk about the Eagles offense versus the Patriots defense. And we'll start with you, Kev. Who has the advantage there?
I think that the Eagles offense has the advantage, in this scenario as well. I love the running game for the Eagles. Now, I do think they need to rely on the run a little bit more than they have lately. You don't want to put the ball into the hands of Nick Foles in the Super Bowl, in key moments of the game. But I like this matchup. I like it for the Eagles again. I mean, I like the two-headed monster with LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi. The Eagles' offensive line, they boast one of the best, in the league at the offensive line position. Alshon Jeffrey on the outside, they have some weapons there. The key will be Nick Foles. Can he center himself in this Super Bowl? Look, he can throw the football. He can make reads. He can make checks at the line of scrimmage. So this isn't some, guy that they got from the scrap heap. Again, he was a starter for Chip Kelly. He led the Eagles to the playoffs, so on and so forth. But I do like the matchup, the Eagles offense. I really do, over this New England defense.
Sean, do you agree with your partner, Kevin? Do the Eagles have the advantage?
I absolutely do. I think me and Kevin are kindred spirits today. Here's the thing. You're talking about Eagles offense that's been, I don't think it's an overstatement to say, prolific. In the playoffs, they were prolific during the regular season. They were a top-ranked offense, and they have not slowed down in the postseason. And let's not act like the Vikings were not a top-flight defense. The Patriots defense is not the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
Yes, the Patriots
were number one. Yeah.
The Patriots defense is not as good as the Minnesota Vikings defense. And there's numbers to substantiate that. They are ranked 29th in the league in yards allowed. I think the Eagles are going to carve them up, yardage-wise. Now, they are very tough in the red zone. Again, like I said, they're number 8. And they're not going to be able to kick field goals, to Kevin's point, and win this game. But they have guys that can make plays after the catch. Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey. These are people that are able to get the ball and get big chunks of yardage after the play. And in a number of plays in the Minnesota game, you saw exactly that. Nick Foles doesn't absolutely have to make 50-yard passes as much as he needs to get the ball to people who can take the ball 50 yards. And the Patriots, they have not been able to get a great pass rush. They don't have shutdown corners. They don't have excellent linebackers, and they're old in a lot of positions. And I really don't see them being able to get the kind of pressure on the run against the run or against the pass that is really going to discourage the Eagles and make them conservative with their play calling. I don't. And I think that to me, this is a clear advantage to the offense of the Philadelphia Eagles against a really hot and cold, if you look at the numbers in the red zone versus what they allow on the rest of the field and the rest of the 80 yards of the field. And I see Philadelphia having a decisive advantage offensively.
I will say this. The New England Patriots do have a set or a pair of really good corners. I like Stephon Gilmore. I like Malcolm Butler. We all know Malcolm Butler made that play that kept the Seattle Seahawks from winning a Super Bowl that they should have won. We all know, listen, they should have gave the ball to Beast. I think we all understand that. But since they opted to pass the ball, Malcolm Butler, due to his keen film study, was able to jump that route and come away with the interception. So I think Malcolm Butler, really good corner. Stephon Gilmore, he showed us what he can do against the Jaguars, coming up with a couple big plays down the stretch. So I think that is the strongest part of their defense, to be honest. But I'd have to agree with you, fellas. I think the Eagles' offense definitely has the advantage. Jay Ajayi, and let's not understate this fact here, LeGarrette Blount.
Yes.
This is a Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots from last year. This is a guy that knows what it takes to win with the Patriots, and he probably knows what it takes to beat the Patriots as well. So I don't want to understate that. So as you guys have eloquently stated and articulated, I believe the Eagles do have the advantage offensively. So there's only one thing left for us to do, fellas: predictions. Predictions. And we're going to start out with the fellow NFC East compadre, the Dallas Cowboys, Sean Dustin. When it's all said and done, Mr. Dustin, who's going to be lifting the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday? Will it be the Philadelphia Eagles, home of Rocky, or is it going to be the New England Patriots? Because we know that the whole country outside of the New England region wants the Patriots to lose. Who lifts the trophy?
I'm one of those people who don't mind dynasties and don't mind seeing greatness personified. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say Tom Brady and the New England Patriots will be going home losers. The Philadelphia Eagles in an upset, 34-27. Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP. He throws 3 touchdown passes. New England wins 34-27. Eagles win 34-27.
Wow. A high-scoring game. Mr. Cornegay, San Francisco 49er, 5-time Super Bowl champion. Lived through some of the greatest football players that you'll ever see. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. Who lifts the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday, Mr. Cornegay? Is it going to be Captain America, the GOAT himself? Or is it going to be Rocky and the Philadelphia Eagles?
The rest of America is going to be very, very excited. The Philadelphia Eagles will win their first Super Bowl championship, 24-21, and they're going to do it in an impressive fashion. Tom Brady will have an opportunity to win the game. Less than 2 minutes to go, but I think that Philadelphia pass rush is going to be able to get the job done. 2 sacks in the final drive for the Eagles, and they will host the Lombardi Trophy. Look, I think it's a big-time mismatch, in the trenches, and I think, in the fourth quarter, it'll show itself. The Eagles will kick a field goal late to take a 24-21 lead and give Tom Terrific one more opportunity to get number 6, but I think he's going to be denied. And the city of Philadelphia will get their first championship since when? 1982, and Dr. J, when Dr. J went up and under. I believe that's the last champion. Oh, I think the Philadelphia Flyers, the hockey team, has had a couple of championships, but yeah. But I like the Eagles in this 24-21, a terrific Super Bowl with Justin Timberlake performing at halftime.
Yeah, can't wait to see that. No disrespect to Justin. Listen, want to give a special birthday.
Man, come on.
I want to give a special birthday shout out to my brother Marquise Boyd.
Yes, sir.
He is 30 years old today, a diehard Eagles fan, and I tell you what, brother, I hope you had a wonderful birthday. I'm looking forward to seeing you live out at least 60 or 70 more years. And furthermore, I am going to pick your Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. And I'm going to tell you, I can't go with the score that Kev went with, 24-21. He says that Tom Brady's going to have an opportunity to win a football game in the last couple minutes. To me, it's a done deal if Tom gets to that point. So I think this has to be a game to where the Eagles have to have a comfortable enough lead so that they don't have to think about a game-winning drive. So I'll say somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-17, Philadelphia Eagles. I think they have consistently been the best football team in the NFL this year. And when Carson Wentz went down and Nick Foles stepped in, I think the question was, can this guy not be Carson Wentz, but can he do enough to allow this great team to get deep enough into the playoffs? I think he's proven that he can do that. And I just think that the Philadelphia Eagles are the better overall football team. They've been the best team in football. Can you imagine how good this team is going to be when Carson Wentz comes back?
Right.
I'm talking about a guy that can make the adjustments at the line. He is a commander out there. So this would be really gravy for the Philadelphia Eagles if they can win a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. How bananas would that be? So I think it's a clean sweep, fellas. Does this ensure that the Eagles are going to lose since we all are on the same page and we all picked them? I hope.
Man. I hope not, man. I hope not. I think Philadelphia Eagle fan, they have been waiting for eternity to host that Lombardi Trophy.
They have. And one more comment, Sean, I'm actually surprised that you're going with the Eagles. Listen, I thought you would never, ever forgive. No, I thought you would never, ever forgive Philly fans after they threw batteries at Michael Irvin when he lay on that Veterans Memorial Stadium turf, when he lay on that turf with the neck injury and they're throwing batteries and cheering. I didn't think a Cowboy fan could ever. My buddy Xavier Pickens has never forgiven the Eagles for that. So it shows that you have a lot of.
And guess what? Philadelphia fans are not Philadelphia players. A lot of these players aren't from Philadelphia. They're from different parts of the country. They're from different states. They went to different colleges. They just happen to play for that organization. They're not indicative of classless Philadelphia fans at all. So I don't care how deplorable and classless the Philadelphia fan base is. I'm telling you, but based on expert analysis and sound logic, that's what I'm going with. It doesn't mean that I have to like any of the fans in Philadelphia. Philadelphia fans boo Philadelphia. Philadelphia doesn't even like Philadelphia. I'm not.
Philadelphia. The Philadelphia fan base is one of the most atrocious fan bases that we have. I mean, these guys booed Santa Claus, man. So these guys.
Passionate fan base. Let's not say atrocious. They're a passionate fan base. Okay, I'm coming to the defense of the Philadelphia fan base. They're a passionate fan base, limited in terms of championships. So yes, They are a little irritable, so to speak, and I don't agree with them booing Michael Irvin when he was on that Veterans Memorial turf, getting carried out or not carried out, getting carted out because of a neck injury. I thought that was classless. But booing Santa Claus, come on now. I mean, there's worse things that could happen. There's times when I wanted to boo Santa Claus. But hey, moving on real quick, we're going to touch on a couple NBA topics before we get out of here. Blake Griffin. Now with the Detroit Pistons, appeared in his first game. He had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and helped lead the Detroit Pistons to a victory tonight. Fellas, this trade kind of came and snuck up on us. I don't think there was much forewarning for this trade. Really quick, with short takes, give me your assessment of the trade, and do you think Detroit got the best of this, or do you think the Clippers got the best of this, not player-wise, but with respect to the salary cap money that they freed up? And I'll start with you, Sean.
This is clearly a salary cap move. I think at the end of the day, the Pistons lost this trade. I think what the Clippers got in young talent, I like Tobias Harris. I like draft picks. I like the fact that Doc Rivers understands that, look, we're not going to be able to beat the Warriors. Like, really, what's the end game? We want to win. And we're not going to win with the current lineup. We're going to have to position ourselves that maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, that when it's all said and done and the Warriors start to disband and all of that stuff and the smoke clears, do we have an opportunity to be viable as a franchise down the road? And this is what this move really indicates. Blake Griffin is not a proven winner. He's one of those players that I always felt was overhyped. I think he was great. If this was the 90s, he'd be a great player. But in today's game, him and DeAndre Jordan are some of the most inept, lack of development players that I've seen in recent history. I mean, Lob City, it looked great when Lob City was going on, but DeAndre Jordan still can't shoot a free throw. He still has no post game. To Blake Griffin's credit, he did extend his range to a certain extent, but he's still, at the end of the day, he is who he is. He's a bull in a china shop. He's not going to make a lot of smart plays. He's a pretty good passer for his size, but Blake Griffin is not going to be the player that you're going to build a franchise around and going to win you a championship. It's just not going to happen. And at the end of the day, I think you have safer equipment managers in LA. I think you have, a safer staff and people that work behind the scenes. And I think this is a good move for the Clippers overall. And I'll be honest with you, I don't trust Doc Rivers. And I don't think players should either, even his own son. I trust Doc Rivers, man. I think Doc Rivers is a pretty good coach, pretty good, little overrated. Don't think he should be making front office decisions. I think Lawrence Frank needs to continue to help there. And I think the Pistons lost in this one. I think the Clippers won.
Shots fired, man. You're going to tell Austin Rivers that he shouldn't trust his dad. Unbelievable. You know, his dad is the reason that he's actually getting paid a pretty nice wage in LA. So I think father knows best in that instance. Kev.
Let's not act like Austin Rivers was missing meals his whole life, okay?
No, he wasn't missing meals, but he was a G League player until he actually came over to the Clippers. He was a G League level player, I'll say, and he's made a nice little name for himself in LA, and has produced a little bit better than I thought he would with the Clippers, and he's got his dad to thank for that. Kev, who do you think made out with the trade? Do you think the Pistons got the better of it, or do you think the LA Clippers got the better of it with the draft picks and the salary cap space that they were able to free up?
The Clippers got the better of the trade by far because they can finally close the book on the Lob City era. Look, Showtime, they had substance. The Bad Boys, they had substance. Even the Heatles, Bron, D Wade and Chris Bosh. They had substance. Lob City, they didn't have any substance to it. Okay, it was an awkward mix of guys. CP3, a ball dominant point guard. Blake Griffin, undersized power forward who didn't rebound very well, but was a highlight reel in the air. And then DeAndre Jordan, a guy that they couldn't play in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game in the fourth quarter because he can't shoot free throws. So you were able to keep him off the floor. So Lob City era, close the book on it, start fresh. Nowadays, in today's NBA, draft picks are at a premium. It's all about getting young, doing it the Golden State Warriors way. Draft Steph Curry 1 year, draft Draymond Green and a Klay Thompson the next year, and just develop. You're not going to go out and get a big-time free agent, most likely, if you're the Clippers. Nobody's going to go there and sign with your organization. So you're going to have to build through the draft. Jerry West is over there now. This was a Jerry West move, 1,000%. He saw the dead weight in Blake Griffin, a 5-year, $180 million contract. He's in year one of that. Let's go ahead, trade this asset. Let's get the draft picks in. A couple of young players, Bradley, Tobias Harris. We're going to deal DeAndre Jordan as well. We're going to start from scratch. So I think they made out. As far as the Detroit Pistons, they're playing in a new downtown facility, the Joe Louis Arena, and they can't get any seats in the arena. So bring in Blake Griffin. He's going to give you some highlight reels. He's going to bring a new energy, in the city of Detroit when it comes to their basketball team. I think they'll put fans back into the seats. Hey, you're going to have them for the next 4 years. Are you going to win a championship? No. But can you get into the playoffs this year? Yes, they got to get into the playoffs. They have to get to the playoffs. 7th or 8th seed. It doesn't matter. So, again, the Clippers win the trade, but I understand why the Pistons made this move. We got to put fans into the seats. We got to get to the playoffs. Forget about, years down the line. Let's go ahead, take care of business right now. But the Clippers made a great, great move. Jerry West, I see you working.
Let's be honest. The Detroit Pistons, they now have one of the most athletic front courts that you're going to find in all the NBA. Andre Drummond, very underrated rebounder, very underrated athleticism. I think bringing in Blake Griffin is going to allow his game to flourish a little bit. So, I as you mentioned, we can see why they decided to bring Blake Griffin to Detroit. So we'll see how that plays out. I would anticipate that before it's all said and done, I think the Pistons will end up with maybe like a 6 seed. I think they still have some time to get to the 6 seed. I think Charles Barkley had pointed out earlier that they were only 4 games back of the number 4 seed. So we'll see ultimately where they end up getting. Sean?
I just wanted to say this. I stepped away for a second because I wanted to show this. I thought it was relevant. And Kevin brought up a great point. This is a Jerry West move. If there's one person that I never doubt, ever, it's Jerry West. My dad bought me this book called West by West.
Wow, that's terrific.
Okay, this is an excellent read. This is a guy who went through a very tormented life, a tumultuous relationship with his father, who was very hard on him. This guy has so much fortitude, so much insight, so much knowledge of the game as it's evolved, as it is today. And I will never doubt Jerry West. You guys out there, if you're looking for a good read, West by West, My Charmed, Tormented Life. Okay? Jerry West, I'll never doubt the guy.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent take there. Well, fellas, we have come to the end of our time. For all of us here at Off the Bench, myself, Javon Tavares, Kevin Cornegay, and Sean Dustin, we wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Super Bowl weekend. And wouldn't it be oh so nice if we had Monday as a national holiday? So we could all have a great time on Sunday and didn't have to go to work on Monday. But we're going to see who the true Blues, who the real employees are on Monday. I know I'll be at work. I know I'll be at work. Anyways, have a great Super Bowl weekend, and we will catch you guys next week with the results of the Super Bowl, as well as some more NBA talk and other happenings there. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you. Peace.